How's your gut? How is it feeling down here deep inside? Are you feeling like things are as they should be, or are you feeling a little bit off? I find that most people, and myself included, a lot of days, and what started me on this journey on health and wellness was really in my gut. I suffered from acid reflux for 20 years. Now, I know that's not everybody, but it's almost a quarter to a third of the population in the US, America particularly struggles with some form of dysbiosis in the gut. Now, those are words that 2, 3 years ago I didn't even use. I was like, man, I got acid reflux and burning. Then I learned about um, GERD and gastro esophagus reflux disease, and I was like, oh, so it's got a fancy name, right? All I knew was that my doctor said you need to be on Nexium, and I was on 60 milligrams of Nexium a day. Really, for I started on Nexium 20 years ago, and just kind of get worse and worse, and then Tums and then different things along that line, and I had anxiety and I had depression, and I didn't know the connection. And maybe that's you. Maybe that resonates with you. Maybe it's just you've got brain fog. Maybe you're dealing with that. And the idea that things are off here is exactly what I hear so many people ask about, talk about, live through on a regular basis. It's a consistent theme for so many. So as we jump into this today, maybe there's some other things that you're dealing with, and you haven't had. Let me say you don't, but you know that things are not as they should be, and your doctor has left you guessing because they never answered the questions. And maybe you didn't even know what questions to ask. I didn't. When I was diagnosed with diabetes in 2023, I didn't know what questions to ask. And through the years, I kept, every time I would come up with something new, it'd be what would the doctors tell me? And it was just always take the medications, never really look into lifestyle, always talk about dieting, but never given a direction. I had one doctor that did, and it left me guessing. What should I do? Maybe that's you. Um, you deal with migraines. Your sleep patterns are thrown off. You just can't ever seem to get settled in during the day. If that's you, type me in the comment. If you have been dealing with some of those things and not ever getting a clear answer, type me in the comment. 93% of us in the US are metabolically unhealthy, and metabolism is and metabolic syndrome is understanding that metabolism is what our body does with what we eat and drink. And metabolic syndrome has to do all the time with what we eat and drink, all those conditions: high blood pressure, low HDL, high triglycerides. Um, we've got high blood pressure, and we've got obesity, large waist circumference. All of those things are related to one thing. Have you wanted to ask a doctor these questions? Have you wanted to talk to a nutritionist or a nutrition coach? That's what I am, is a certified nutrition coach. And I didn't get here because this is really what I wanted to do. It was, I'm sick and no one's telling me, so I'm going to learn, right? That I became a nutrition coach because no one was telling me. No one was giving me guidance, except for my wife, who's a doctor, right? She was one. And when she started on her health journey, I paid attention. And so we talked about it. And she furthered her education. You got to do that as a doctor every year. I think she takes like something like 30 continuing ed every single year. And consistently, as a dentist, she keeps doing classes that are regularly about metabolic health, because what's happening metabolically is connected to the mouth and the gut, just like the gut is connected to the brain. So today we're going to hear on this subject from Dr. Natasha Pierre, who I've had on a couple of times. So if you've only gotten part of this and you didn't get a chance to go back and watch it, this is going to be a great opportunity to hear from somebody that really understands this gut brain connection and how they're connected. I learn every time. And if there's a subject regarding insulin resistance or metabolic health that you would like to hear about, put it in the comment. So I'm Coach Ken. I'm up in Anchorage, Alaska. Let me know where you're coming in from. Would love to welcome you in. And if you haven't, make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel so you get a chance to check out all the videos that we're doing. And this is part of the channel is my own personal journey, Dr. G's personal journey as we're doing these things. As while we're I guess would be classified as experts. We're living this just like everybody else, right? We're trying to make sense of this just like everybody else. So let's jump in and we're going to learn a little bit from Natasha today.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yep, we can see it and hear you perfectly. So go right ahead.
All right, fantastic. So thank you so much, Trent, for this fantastic introduction. I am reeling in my seat, very, very excited to talk to you. John, your story was extremely inspiring. Congratulations on all your success and everyone else on this platform as well. So when Trent asked me to do this presentation, one thing that has been very, very passionate and dear to me as a pediatrician, because I've experienced it myself, is gut health. And the reason I want to talk about gut health is because I've noticed the massive transformation for my own gut health, something that I thought I had to live with for the rest of my life. I just thought that I had a bad gut. And I've seen this as well in children, and I've noticed their deteriorating gut health, unfortunately, because of the rising in processed foods. And it's not just processed food, it's ultra processed foods now. And this doesn't just affect their digestion. I mean, I have, patients that come in every week with constipation, and just for gut health. However, it also affects mental state. And it's not just mood disorders, it's also things that are a little bit more concerning that they have to take issues for, including autoimmune diseases, including some neurodivergence as well that can be exacerbated by poor gut, including chronic allergies. And so I believe that when you have your gut and you believe that it's separate from the rest of your body, or it's just an organ to digest food, and you don't realize how much it affects every other aspect of your body, we're missing a big piece of the puzzle here. So my title is the gut really is a second brain, and how your gut controls your mood, stress, and clarity. And when you heal your gut, as I did, you'll notice a direct link to clearer mood. So I'm really excited to share this with you. Trying to go to the next slide. So why, I alluded to this a little bit, but the gut health, why it matters is, again, because it's more than the just digestion. If any of you currently are dealing with any gut health issues, you may or may not know that it's directly related to your mood, your cravings, your immune system, your cognition. And the reason for that is there's actually a direct highway between your gut and your brain. And we'll talk about what nerve connects this highway, but the gut-brain axis is this two-way communication street. It's not just your gut affects your brain also affects your gut. And the reason for that is, as a background in history, our gut 4.5 trillion microbes in the entire gut system, and therefore your colon actually is its own ecosystem. Your bacteria that lives in your gut was there before you, and it will be there after you. It's many hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years old, and it works synergistically with your body. And it's meant to help you. It's its own ecosystem, but it's meant to help you and aid you in many processes that you're not even aware of, in your cravings, in your mood, in immune system function. And therefore, it really is, your gut always tells your brain what's going on, and your brain is always scanning what's happening in your gut. And so it really does matter. And so what is the cost of our gut health currently that is deteriorating? It's not a benign issue at all. Right now, 1 in 5 adults, and I believe that that number is very underreported, but 1 in 5 US adults are experiencing anxiety and depression. In fact, the most common medication right now in the US is an anxiety medication. And really, gut dysbiosis is identified as a major contributing factor. We touched a little bit on what gut dysbiosis is. And it really is when you have an overgrowth of bad bacteria. We talked about 4.5 trillion bacteria that's living in your body, friendly bacteria. They're there to help you. However, when when you have friends, you can have foes. When you don't nourish your gut bacteria, they can grow dormant, and the bad bacteria can overgrow. So dysbiosis is when you have an imbalance of the enemy in your gut. and it causes and wreaks havoc. And part of that is because a lot of your feel-good neurotransmitters are actually made in your gut as well as your brain. So 70% of your feel-good hormone, serotonin, is actually made in your gut. Can you believe that? 70% of the hormone that helps you feel good is made in the organ that many people have poor health in. And so that really goes to show you and highlights why so many of us are dealing with anxiety and mood disorders right now. Of course, there's a huge economic impact of this, over $1 trillion globally in lost productivity. Again, I believe all these numbers are underreported because mood disorders are definitely something that also permeate into physical health as well. So when you consider that, that makes a huge difference in our lost productivity. And of course, because the gut is related to the brain, there's a huge cognitive decline as well. It's not a sign of aging when you're in your 30s and you forget the name of someone you knew for 30 years, or you forgot where you put your keys, or you forgot some really, information that you shouldn't be forgetting in your 30s and 40s and 50s. Early onset of Alzheimer's is also prevalent. So these are not signs of aging, it's signs of insulin resistance and poor gut health. And of course, Trent talked on this and a little bit earlier, but our processed foods consumption and overconsumption definitely contribute to this. And part of this is because over 30 years ago, the food industry wanted to increase the shelf life of our food, and they had to do that by removing the fiber and all of the nutritious properties of the food. And without fiber, our gut cannot thrive. And of course, as I mentioned, it does impact our workplace. So we're likely to miss more work days as a result. So there are these communication pathways. We talked about the gut-brain highway. There is a highway between your gut and your brain. And that highway is through the vagus nerve. And this is the longest nerve in your body. It connects your brain to multiple processes in your GI tract, in your heart as well. But it is this information superhighway between the gut and the brain. So it literally transmits. Right now, your gut is giving signals to your brain as to what's going on, and your brain is giving signals to your gut. And it influences your mood, your stress, your cravings, whether you want to hug someone. There are literally bacteria that decides whether or not you desire to hug someone. And if you drive anywhere in Texas, you realize a lot of us are missing that bacteria. There's a lot of neurotransmitters, as we talked about, that are made in the gut as well as the brain, but 90% of the serotonin is made in the gut. And so that means that if it's disrupted, mood disorders follow. GABA, which is the calming hormone, is also produced in the gut. So when that's disrupted, you have an increase in anxiety, fear, and disruption in your calm states. And of course, we talked about inflammation. 70% of your immune system is produced in your gut. So this really highlights the rise of poor immune function, gut, and autoimmune diseases as well, not being able to clear certain bacteria and viruses. There are a lot of patients that I come across that have recurrent strep, recurrent viruses, and long COVID. Those are all signs that the immune system is not functioning optimally. And of course, when you have poor immune function, you have something called neuroinflammation. And it's also linked to the same things: depression, anxiety, brain fog, and impaired dysfunction. And we talked about the immune system. And as well, this is also, we didn't talk about it then, but it also increases the risk of hyperactivity and, ASD, autism spectrum. The gut health is usually a huge factor in that. In fact, a lot of people who improve their gut health greatly have shown improvements in mood disorders and activity, hyperactivity as well. So we'll go from there. So we talked a little bit already about the dynamic two-way street between the gut and the brain, and the brain and the gut. So the brain and the gut part is when you are stressed, when you are feeling when you're not optimally at ease, you're also increasing the risk of IBS and digestive issues. And so you feel it in your gut when you're also stressed in your brain. So that is that two-way highway we talked about. So again, we won't go too much into the science, but the beautiful thing about the human body is that it may have taken us years to get here, but it won't take us years to come out of it. The human body is so resilient. One of the reasons I love working with children is that they are super, super, super resilient. One little tiny intervention and they're back to, as you can see with John's story, and many who have who have taken their health serious, an intervention that tells them here to give you back what it needs to thrive will make huge differences, continually renewing itself. So these are very, very simple changes that in your health, and we'll go to a quiz that you'll take to see where you are in that spectrum of
We're
gut
not doing
health.
any
But
tests.
some of the
No.
the basic
We're
things to
not
do
doing
that
that.
about is your prebiotics,
Too
your
early for
fruits and
tests.
vegetables, your whole vegetables. Those are super important. What are prebiotics? That's the food that you're
Right.
to thrive on, and that's a variety of fruits and vegetables.
Don't dismiss fiber.
Your bacteria, your good bacteria thrive
This is
on
so important.
fiber. Your bad bacteria, guess what it thrives on? Sugar, processed foods. So we're starving our gut bacteria and we're feeding our good bacteria. I mean, our bad bacteria, excuse me. And so that's the reason why we are where we are. So if we just add back the fiber that our good bacteria needs to thrive, remember there's 4.5 trillion
This doesn't
bacteria. We
mean being
need
a
fiber. It's
vegetarian or a
recommended
vegan.
about 50 to 60 grams fiber a day, but we barely about 10 to 20. And so the
Right.
protocol that we're going to go into is a really good bridge to that. Probiotics are replacing some of the bacteria that you are lacking in your gut. So these are found in fermented foods, such as yogurt, kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut. So these add back the healthy bacteria into your diet. And of course, reducing what your fungus and your bad bacteria loves to eat, which is processed food and excess sugar. And of course, the other part of it is if you're stressed, it will affect your gut. So I can't underline this enough, but it is really important that it is not an aside, taking time for stress management, mindfulness, meditation, deep breathing, whatever it is you have to do it to lower your stress. Stress is a huge factor in your gut. Try kimchi. These are some of the fruits that I have this way. I force that's what I preach. I usually just take the same fruits and vegetables all the time. Yes, they're healthy, but remember, 4.5 trillion bacteria, they don't all eat the same things. So the more you eat, allowing the other bacteria that could help you thrive in other ways to lay from. So try something that, when you think of the Garden of Eden, it probably had thousands of amazing produce, fruits and vegetables and whole grains. So I would encourage you every week to try at least one new fruit and one new vegetable. So I these fruits and vegetables. One was rambutan, one was something else, was like a toad skin melon, which was good. And today I brought some persimmon, which I used to eat a lot in Korea, and dragon fruit, of course, and this other pepino melon. So farmers market, I got these from Whole Foods. Try something new that looks really, really odd and just go with it because we're fertilizing your bacteria and maybe another bacteria will spring up. And like, I've been waiting for this the whole time. So I challenge you to do that. And they're amazing. These are full on your counter and it'll force you to try new things and add variety to your menus, which I'm going to go into a little bit, and you'll discuss it a little bit more. But as I mentioned to you, we require a good 50 of fiber a day. Our ancestors got 100. So 50 to 60 is even half. We get about 10 if we're lucky. So this is a beautiful bridge, the product discussing. This is the balance, and it adds a good amount of the fiber. But it's when you ingest it, it becomes about 28 grams of fiber. So it's really amazing. It serves as a powerful prebiotic. It regulates your glucose levels. It will support your mood and increase your microbiome. balance. This is inflammation, but Trent will go into it a lot more. But this is what I'm sensitive is because I had poor gut health until I did the course. Part of gut health is fasting. We're supposed to be eating every 2 to 3 hours. We're not supposed to be snacking every 1 to 2 hours. When you fast, you're allowing your gut to get a rest, a very, very much needed rest. It can focus on healing. Your body can focus on healing. It reduces inflammation. It improves the diversity of your biome as well. And it also lining. So fasting for us seems impossible because we're insulin resistant, and therefore when you're insulin resistant, your body is not able to tap into fat burning when you're insulin resistant. The second part of this protocol is amazing tea that allows your blood regulated and it allows you to sensitive. So the two together, the balance in the Unimate allows your body to have a cleaner gut, calmer mind, and a sharper focus. So really, really quickly.
Okay, yeah, we're not doing
this is for your own edification.
You're not doing any tests. I don't know about you guys, but I'm so not taking any tests. I don't know about you, but I appreciate for just some great information to help us on this way. So let's kind of jump into what what we really addressing here. So those really simple brain connection. When we address what's going on here, we address so much of what's going on in the rest of our body, and that's a big part of what I do as a nutrition coach is to help people on this. I had somebody ask me, he's like, I can't afford a nutrition coach. Well, that's why I get on live. Okay, you don't have to pay for this, right? You're here, you get to join in and hang out for a little bit, and if you've got questions regarding to nutrition, that's exactly what I'm here for. So insulin resistance is the biggest issue facing us in the US. And that's something that the medical profession is not talking about. They're talking about it, but they're talking about it in terms of let's get you more medications. Let's get you more insulin into your body, not ever addressing the fact that, your insulin is working just fine. What's happening is your blood sugar is too high. When your blood sugar gets high, your insulin gets high. But your body has been regulating that all along. Your extra sugar, insulin has been storing it. And as long as insulin is being made in the pancreas, guess what's happening? You can't tap into the sugar stores. Glucagon is the other hormone that's made in the pancreas that releases the glucose into the bloodstream. And when you've got that going on and you're at homeostasis, that's the game-changing thing that we're not talking about. How about that? Your body is opposite sides. You're staying sick because you're not being taught. You're staying overweight because you're not being taught. You're not there. I was there. I totally get that. Because we have been trying to address this as nutritionists, some of us anyway, because we're not buying into the fact that things have been changed in our modern food system. Are telling us the whole story. And you can like or dislike our current administration. This goes beyond that. Okay. This goes way beyond that. It isn't about politics. This is about, so if you can get that out of your mind, that'd be a huge step forward. I didn't start this journey to health and wholeness because I was beholden to some political party. That's exactly not how this works. Okay? That is not how this works. What we're understanding how the human body works. That's the key to this journey. And so I'm trying to see what's going on. My screen is not cooperating over here to share. I want to share my screen. And I don't know why we're having an issue with this. Let's share that. And that's not how I want to share it. Goodness gracious. Every day I do it is a lesson in, I feel like, futility. Cooperate. And I'm not sure why there's a third screen here. We need to get that off. That's just weird. I have never seen that. Boy, there's a glitch in the system there. Holy cow, that's a weird glitch in the system. Okay. So this is where I was when I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I'm going to switch. I'm going to try this one. It's not going to let me. Okay. No big deal. So what I didn't understand was what was going on here. That insulin was the root cause of the issues that we face today. Maybe you have been somebody that has been dealing with some of those things. Oh, there it did. All right. When you look at that list, all right, urination at night, you getting up and having to go to the bathroom all the time. If that's you, type me in the comment. All right. As you're looking at this journey, these are the things that we are not being told. How about frequent hunger? You get the cravings all day. You're tired after evening. You're craving carbs, constant fatigue. All right. All of these things that keep hitting us over and over again. Insulin resistance is the key to that. That's the thing, is that we're not addressing. Now, what is insulin resistance exactly? Well, insulin resistance is normally our body is functioning the way that it should. All right. Our body's what on earth is going on? Oh my goodness. I did not say to pull any of that up. This is just a comedy of errors today. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. We're going to try again. Welcome to Sunday morning. And we've switched to something I did not want to switch to. There we go. Oh my goodness. I don't know what's going on. All right. So wow. All right. So coming back on track. So what is insulin resistance? Well, simplest put, normally when we consume food, our insulin takes the sugar, the glucose that is broken down in our mouths, all right, and gets into gets to the pancreas, all right, stores it. When the time comes, glucagon, the other hormone made in the pancreas, is going to take that broken down sugar from the fat cells and give it to the body's energy when we are at homeostasis. But when we consume all day, when we're eating all day, guess what happens? We get insulin resistance. We never are allowing glucagon to kick in. In fact, we're consuming all day, so our body is receiving all of the blood sugar all of the time, and insulin is storing it. So the fat cells that we have in our body are, and all of our cells are full of the energy. We can't use it. As long as glucagon is not engaged, all right, we're going to continue to have this problem. It's going to be a regular part of what we deal with. All right. So we ask the question, we talk about, well, what is diabetes? I mean, that really becomes the biggest issue that we're facing, is not understanding what it is. Hear about it. We don't have somebody talking to us about it. We don't understand it. And so we think of, every time we hear insulin, we think only of diabetes and nothing else. Well, that's a false way of looking at it, because really and truly, insulin resistance leads to diabetes. But let's make sure we understand type 1, the body's not making insulin. That's over here, over on your left. All right. It's understanding it's an autoimmune. All right. Type 1 diabetes, it's autoimmune. The body's attacked the pancreas. You can't make insulin. They've got to have insulin. Type 2 is we have too much insulin and the cells are resisting it. And we can't tap into it because, in part, we're eating all day long. As long as insulin is high, the fat on the body is going to stay where it is. The fat will defy. When insulin is low, the fat will go. The body releases glucagon, and that releases the glucose into the bloodstream. That's the other hormone. Now, that's a huge part of this. And the hormones in the body are very real. It's not simply because you're eating too much, it's that you're eating all day long. This is the thing we cannot get people to understand. And I listened to another nutrition coach today that went off on that I was like, I'm sorry, I can't go there. I can't go there. I understand why you got upset, because it's just too much. We need to be graceful to more people. All right. Because when we've got the issues of insulin resistance and these chronic diseases, it's hard enough as it is. Right. There's so much misinformation. So understanding this is key. So pre-diabetes leads to diabetes. These are reversible. Okay. Type 1, you can't reverse that. You can't. We've not been able to come up with anything to help reverse that. All right. The pancreas has been damaged. All right. You can't reverse that. All right. People are going to need insulin. But when your pre-diabetic diabetes is reversible, all right, in most cases, and understanding why. We can prevent this by understanding what's going on with our modern human diet and how we're eating. This is the modern diet dilemma that we face all the time, is we are eating all day long. So when you look at this, start in the morning, right? We start eating at 8 a.m. in the morning. We continually eat 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 p.m., 2 p.m., 4 p.m. It's snack, meal, snack, meal, snack. It's like Pac-Man all the time. Waka, 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 right? So what we want to do is we've got to stop, and we have to make sure that the right things we're putting in our body. This really is the key right here. This is the key to understanding reversing metabolic disease. Right over here, you're looking at that apple. And why is that important? Because that apple is covered in pectin. You look at the pectin. We look at the rice. What is that covered with? Bran. It's another form of fiber. All right. And when we're getting good fibers in our body, that covers over the fructose and glucose. It's a perfect day. It's Sunday. When God created the world, what did God do? Everything that would spike our blood sugar, he covered in fiber. But when we eat our modern food environment, right, we can see in that apple juice, there's no fiber. It's gone. It's been pulverized. It's not going to do anything. We're just getting blood sugar. When we go to the emergency room, what do they give somebody that's low in blood sugar? Type the word in the comment section. It's right there for you on the screen. So what can we do? Well, or what do we need to know? Our modern food environment is our blood sugar increases all day, and we have a roller coaster. The blood sugar is constantly on this roller coaster going up and down and up and down and up and down. And our insulin is constantly staying at that elevated place that we cannot get it under control. All right. And we've got to. That's going to be key. And I'm about to lose my screen again because it's going to go wonky here. And I apologize for that. So if we change simply the order that we eat, we can change everything about our health. All right. And this is going to be so very important that we understand. We want to understand if we change the order that we eat, we can control our blood glucose levels. We see that at UCLA, we see it at the Ohio State, and we see it at the CDC. These are the people that said, hey, we've got an epidemic with diabetes, and there's a natural way to address this. And it is simply changing the order that we eat. Fiber and protein first, healthy fats, and we put carbs at the end of the meal. So our grandparents were right all along. Eat your veggies first. Eat the veggies first, right? My grandmother never sounded that way. But when we start the meal that way, when we eat, that right there will change everything. So what we do is we change our meal order, and it is this simple right here. It is this simple. We start with fiber. We get those good fibrous veggies, and I'm talking things. It's in your pantry and refrigerator now, probably. Well, probably you may have some. You probably more your refrigerator, not necessarily in the pantry. Although there are some things that we can find in there. Dried vegetables could be one of them. Some dried fruits will have fiber in them. All right. But what we wanted, particularly berries, berries are good. All right. Broccoli, kale, spinach, cauliflower, all of those are full of fiber. All right. Then we get good proteins, avocados, we get ground beef. All right. We get 100% ground beef. We get salmon. You can get, if you're a vegetarian, we can get tofu. We can get different proteins along those lines. And I've got a whole list of them. So we could go into that if that's a question that you have, because people ask me, well, what are good fibers? What are good proteins? Well, we can do that. But you guys got to ask me the questions. I'll throw them out there, but ask the questions, right? So extra virgin olive oil that has been cold pressed, not gone through the process of heated and add chemicals to it. All right. That is one of the best. In the Mediterranean diet, which is like touted by everybody, every doctor, the Mediterranean diet, they forget that any diet that includes extra virgin olive oil and whole foods is beneficial. And that's the key spot right there. Extra virgin olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil. Along with that is avocado oil. All right. Great ones are butter, not margarine. We're talking butter. We're talking about Greek yogurt. We're talking about without sugar added. We want to keep that out, because what we want to do is, if we put to number 3 carbohydrates at the end of the meal, we can get the benefits in a carbohydrate. We can get the benefits of what's in a potato, not French fries. All right. A potato with the skin, with the fiber. All right. We can get the micronutrients out of that. The body can process it. It digests slower, so the blood sugar doesn't spike. It keeps the insulin down, and you don't get sick. I mean, I'm guessing most people like to get sick, because it seems to be that doing this is too hard for people. It's really hard. So what I have to share, you know what? It's if it's not something you can do, then don't do it. Then if the meds are what you're wanting, that's part of this, right? You can definitely do that. It's not how I choose to live, and it's not what I coach. All right, it's intermittent fasting. All right, and we can look at the chart right over here. All right, that chart right there shows that when we do intermittent fasting, it was greater than when we are doing calorie restriction. All right, so as we go on this journey to health and we're controlling those insulin levels, intermittent fasting is key. Time-based eating. We're not eating all day. What I recommend is going to 2 meals a day. That's where I started. Cutting out the snacking, so I'm not consuming food all day. Right? We cut that out. It's that simple. There's a lot of different ways to do that, and you can see the benefits that you find with intermittent fasting. Right now, I'm in a period, I'm doing 1 meal a day. Lent is coming up. So as a minister of the gospel, as a Christian minister for 30 years, I will be doing a little bit different with my fasting during the next 40 days. But I usually do 1 meal a day. I will probably do some extended fasting through this period for personal spiritual reasons, incorporating that into my plan of eating. All right. In addition to this, reversing insulin resistance, how are you exercising? Right? If you didn't see my little diagram here, I want you to think about, there's 5 questions that I ask. All right, I'm going to pull my little star up here so you see this. Five questions. How are you eating? Which is what we've been talking about. How are you exercising? What are some good things to think about? Well, that's what this one's all about. Your muscles receive glucose better than anything. Your muscles are going to receive glucose better than anything. That's the biggest receiver of glucose in the body. So how to do that? We've got exercises here on the page. So look those up. Here's just some quick things. 10 to 20 minutes of walking, all right, doing house chores, yard work, all right, walking inside if you need to, chores around the house. There's a lot of simple ways that you can do this, all right. And that's the fifth one on here. How are you eating? How are you exercising? What are your extras? Now, getting supplements is an iffy business. So the thing for me is I recommend certain things, all right? And I'm going to be right out front about it. I recommend certain things that are backed by the science, backed by the research, just like nutrition, just like exercise. Excuse me. If it's not going to be backed by the science, I'm not going to put it out there. So what I recommend is something that's in the provider's digital reference, all right? Doctors can actually prescribe it, just like they can prescribe these things, all right, which all have side effects leading to different things. When you start on one, you often are going to move to other ones. All right. That's what we're talking about. Statin medications, number one medication prescribed in the world. Right behind that is metformin for pre-diabetes, pre-type 2. If you're pre-diabetic, you're likely going to get prescribed with metformin, which comes with a box warning. It used to be called a black box warning because of the potential for being unalive. Okay. So it's understanding every single one of these things comes with side effects. Down there, GERD, acid reflux, esomeprazole or omeprazole leads to type 2 diabetes. So for me, I can look at, metoprolol, depression medications. I was on Remeron and GERD. All right. That was where my pharma loop was leading, which led to type 2 diabetes because of that GERD and the medications that I was on. But my doctor never told me this. This is all information that's available. All right. So the solution is a very simple protocol. Everything that I've talked about how you are eating, fiber, proteins, and fats, all right, and intermittent fasting. And the protocol fits right into this. This is the simplest protocol in the world with the benefits that come with it. One of those is a fiber matrix. Now, people ask me, what is the fiber matrix? I want to know about it. Look, it fits into the lifestyle. If you're not going to commit to the lifestyle, don't commit to doing this. But I will tell you, this is the multivitamin. I don't have to take a bunch of vitamins. The only other things that I will take typically is I will take vitamin D because I live in Alaska. I will take magnesium because our bodies are depleted of magnesium regularly. It's not in the soil, and that is so important to heart health, to brain health, everything. So I supplement there. This is a multivitamin that covers the rest. Between this and the T gives the rest. Plus, it's backed up by the science and the research. Like you see, you can see right over here how it fits into intermittent fasting on the protocol. This is the fiber that our bodies are missing. This is the fiber that our bodies are missing. This T is what stimulates the body's GLP-1 the way that our bodies are not, because when we're fasting, of course, glucagon-like peptide is not being produced in the body. When we eat a bunch of sugars and we start our meals with carbohydrates, our bodies are not producing the GLP-1 in our bodies the way we need to. That is a peptide that the body makes. Peptides are made in the body when we eat the right things. All right. What we want is our body to do what our body's supposed to do. If we were to be eating the right things throughout the day and we were not bombarded with it and our bodies didn't crave sugar so much, this would not be as big a thing as it is today. But I know that this cuts down the food cravings. This crushes them. The T increases my body's GLP-1 between 60 and 70% when I'm fasting. All right. The fiber right here is what covers over the food and makes sure that I'm getting enough in the day. And all of them are in the PDR.net. That's where my wife goes to prescribe medications. All right. The PDR. There's over 20 clinical studies. It's HSA and FSA qualified. It is considered a nutraceutical. It's standardized in its measurements, so doctors don't have to guess about it. It's actually in 60 plus countries now. It's patented and it's guaranteed with a 90-day guarantee. There's nothing like it on the planet. There's nothing like it that's available to us today. All right. So this is what we're talking about. We're bringing the fiber back. All right. This is going to help curb that appetite, covering the food. It's going to aid in reducing the amount of dietary cholesterol. This helps to lower LDL and HDL. All right. You can look at there. Hey, Myrax, good to see you this morning. All right. We can look at the studies that are there. All right. Over at the University of Sydney, over at the Cleveland Clinic, that this works to help as a statin medication. All right. Better than statin. So totally important for us to realize when it comes to the tea. That's the next thing. This is the best naturally energy drink on the planet. If you've heard of yerba mate, that's what this is in a concentrated form. Now, I love to drink it. Raspberry pomegranate is what I typically drink every single day. And enjoy it. Myrax, I am going to be back on here with my second live in just a little bit. I'm wrapping this one up. So here in just a second, so people know. And I've been doing this. So it's good to see you. Thank you for popping in. So this tells you some of the benefits right here. All right. You fix it and put it right into that daily habit. Like I said, if you're not going to do the other, are you live on Facebook and TikTok? I am not. Currently, I am actually live here and on LinkedIn. I do lives on TikTok and I do lives on Facebook. I do totally different ones typically than what I do right here. This is now my preferred platform, but I do I'm doing two now that are different. This is my science one. And the next one is going to be my life lesson one. So it's everybody seems to like that. So if you want to come, if you want to hang out here, that's totally fine. Like I said, I'm wrapping this one up. I'm going to get off and I'm going to reset everything. I know it's kind of weird the way I do it, but I like to keep my things separate on my channel. So does that make sense? All right. So let's see. All right. This is the other. Wow. Who are you encouraging? All right. Who are you encouraging is the important thing. You can have everything in life that you want if you will just help enough people get what they want. I always tell people when you learn something, the best way to get it back here in your brain is to teach it to other people. So this is why, as a nutrition coach, I became a nutrition coach and got that certification because I wanted to know for myself how nutrition worked. And I teach it because I want to make sure that I'm always doing it and I stay on target with that. So what I encourage you is you learn things like this, that you share them with others. The more that you do that, the more that you consistency is always greater than perfection. All right. The next piece of this, how are you elevating, is about really that spiritual encouragement, which is really my next live that I'll be on. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure that you do that. All right. So this is what this lifestyle did for me and my wife. This is what everything that I've talked about did for me and Dr. G. It changed our lives. We became metabolically healthy because we adopted these in our lifestyle. We actually started living the way we should have been living all along. We started living the way we should have been living all along. People will say, how am I having to give this up? You know what? No, it's what I got back. It's not what I gave up. It's what I got back. And what I got back was my life. And that's what I want to encourage you with today. So thank you so very much for being on here today. If you do have any questions, that QR code down there is the best way to reach out to me. If you are interested in knowing more about the protocol, I'm going to put this up on the screen. This is the QR code to use to order that. This is the price for that, just so you have it. It's also, there should be, I think, no, my phone number is not on there. I need to get that on there, that you can reach out to me. So, all right. Thank y'all so much for being here. I'm ending the stream. I hope you guys have an awesome day, and we'll see you back around on the flip side.